All right, retargeting IQ, module 3, we are diving into UTM parameters. This is the magic sauce that will enable you to scale your business or scale your clients or scale your own agency with proof and data. This is the important part. So in the last module, we set up our conversion events. Remember, a conversion event is the thing that is going to move your business forward or your clients. Really, it's the main thing that we're trying to do on a website to make money. That's the easiest way to think about it. So somebody downloading, somebody booking a call, somebody purchasing something, somebody requesting a quote. Really, that is the magic that happens on the website. But how do you know where that click actually comes from, right? If you're spending money on Facebook and you're spending money on YouTube, or you're spending money on TikTok, or you're doing cold email outreach, or you have a newsletter, or you have social content, or you have something on YouTube, like there's a lot of different elements where you're spreading your time, your energy, and your money. How do you know which one of those is actually moving the needle for you? Well, UTMs are the magic sauce that connect a click all the way down to that conversion event that we just set up. And therefore, it will enable you to understand where you are actually moving the needle in the right way. So again, let's just break this down even to simple. Like let's say you're spending $100 a day on YouTube, $100 a day on Meta, right? At the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to look in our analytics to see what clicks are actually converting, that conversion rate. That's the all-important holy metric of internet marketing. Because once you have that event created, you can then backtrack clicks to that event to see which ads are performing best, which platforms are performing best, which ad groups are. And in this case, it's just retargeting that we're connecting. But just know that UTMs go way beyond retargeting. You can take this and then you can help this. As I mentioned, Company Cam and as I mentioned, Alpha Brewing Operations, like two of our greatest success stories. That was not just guessing, right? That was following the data all the way through and then scaling appropriately or accordingly. So in this module, I want to get down into UTMs. So I'm going to teach you how to think about this the right way. And then I'm going to show you the generators that I've used to help you. And then there's another cool tool that I've built. Shout out to ChatGPT because nothing like this existed, and Google G4 Analytics doesn't have this anymore. It doesn't have that real-time UTM tracking. So I just figured I would build a tool for you to use, and I'll show you how to use that here in this module. So I don't think that this will take a long time, but again, what I would do is slow down and make sure that you master this UTM piece, because this is the part that everybody skips over because it sounds a little weird or it doesn't sound important. But guys, just know that this is the magic sauce that is going to allow you to scale your business or scale your clients. So scale your efforts, right? And again, this doesn't have to be paid ads. You can attach UTMs to any inbound click. So if you're doing marketing, obviously on ad platforms, it makes sense to add UTMs there. But if you send out newsletters, if you are doing affiliate marketing where you have influencers talking about you, you can see the performance of those. Really, this is a standard thing that most people just don't know how to do because they think it's too confusing. But let me tell you, this is the most important piece that you can have in all of your inbound system, because again, it gives you the proof and the data to stop guessing and start making educated decisions based upon data. All right, so here we go. So what is an UTM? Originally, it stands for Urchin Tracking Module, I think. It was developed by a company and then purchased by Google, I want to say more than a decade ago. So you can check the history on that. I'm not exactly sure when that date was, but essentially what it does is it passes 5 layers of data into your analytics that you can just keep drilling down lower and lower and lower. And I'll show you how to do that in this. So the key outcomes though for this is to have you understand how to do this, and so that you can build your own architecture. I'm going to give you mine. You can use it. You can tweak it. It's totally up to you. And then what I want to do is show you how to find this UTM data within GA4, just so that we can connect this all the way back to the last module. And again, I'm not going to do a deep dive on this. I'm going to show you just how this works, and then you can continue to do your own research. Or learn more, in other courses that we provide, or just, go to YouTube and dig around a pinch. So last thing that I'll say is we are going to connect this into the modules coming after this, the Meta and TikTok and Google Ads. There's kind of an easy way to implement these on all of those platforms. But what I want to show you is how to create your own. And then once you have your own, you can just do this dynamically if you're using ads on Google Ads. That includes YouTube, Meta, and TikTok. So really very useful. And again, you can use this for anything. And I've got examples to use if you're doing newsletters or other things as well. So what is a UTM? Well, essentially, a UTM connects the click all the way to the conversion that we just created. And it's a big long string of characters. I'm going to look at my screen here that kind of occur after the main URL. So you'll see this question mark, and then you'll see something called source, medium, campaign, content, and term. And so what we can do is we can layer in deeper tracking layers. We can layer in layers. We can add in tracking layers to these links so that you can kind of click and then go deeper, 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 deeper. That's the main idea behind this. So a source is really what is the source of this original click? And then you can kind of determine, okay, is this organic or is this paid? What was the name of the campaign? What was the name of the ad set? What was the name of the ad? What was the variation of this? I'll show you an example, but this is how we use it in so far as ads. And this is just another way of looking at it. So you have the long string up here, but then this is really how it's broken down: the source, the medium, the campaign that we're running, the content that we're running, and the term. So the term always relates to the ad in this case. And so we could say it's carousel ad 2 or, video 1, angle B. Like, you can name this and kind of dial this in as much as possible. And excuse me, and no, excuse me. And no, you don't have to use every single one of these, but just know that you have 5 layers at your disposal, and I would use all of them if needed. So this is an example of a UTM as far as an email is concerned. So let's just say that we have, we're denoting that this is an email. This is an outbound email. I said July outreach. The UTM content was Midwest. Maybe you're kind of sending this to a specific group, and then email to call to action. Again, you probably don't even need the content and you don't need the term here. You might just need those 3 levels so that you know, hey, this conversion came from an email. It was an outbound email or like a newsletter. You could denote whether this is cold email, and then the name of the campaign. So the name of the campaign could be, July outreach, or I'm filming this in October, so it could be, like, hey, this is sort of the Black Friday promo that's coming up. So again, you can use this and tweak this any way that you deem possible. So when we get into Facebook, I'm just going to show this right now. This is something that you can just automatically do. I always add in these 2 manually, Facebook ads and ads. And then the nice thing about Facebook is it will automatically pull in the name of your campaign. So if you just name your campaign, you can use this parameter. If you use the content, you can just pull that in, and then term. What I also include is this little parameter, just throw placement. That shows me in the analytics, okay, not only did this come from this ad, but it came from the Instagram feed, or it came from Facebook Reels, or it came from the Facebook right-hand column, which is probably never going to happen. It could though, right? So I'll show you more about Facebook, but just know that once you understand how to think about this the right way, you can layer it into everything, and the platforms know that people want this and use this, just not that many people do use it because they don't know how. So again, we'll touch on that in the meta module. One other thing that I will say is Google does have their own version of this. So you can go out and build a campaign. Again, they give you examples here, and I did link to this in the description. Here's what I would say. I would not use this because once you generate that UTM, they spit it out, which is great. But I like to use a Google spreadsheet because that way I can just keep track of all of my UTMs in one place. So I'll show you how to use my spreadsheet here in just a pinch. So know that and there's other tools I've tried to download or buy, UTM software, and just honestly nothing was as effective or friendly as just this spreadsheet. And so the spreadsheet I've been using for 6 or 7 years now. And so I've just kind of gone back to this is the easiest way, and it's obviously extremely easy to use. So this is what I mentioned at the beginning of this was before you could get into Universal Analytics, Google Universal Analytics, and you could see your UTMs in real time. You could see where the clicks are coming in from. At the time of this recording, GA4 does not have that. And so what I wanted to do was give you an example of how to just kind of test your UTMs in real time. So I'll show you that here in a bit, but that is this tool right here. It's called Hacktics.com, show my UTMs. That's what I leveraged AI to help me go build out this JavaScript, which was pretty cool. But what I want to show you is this UTM generator right here. And then know that you can play around with other GA4 properties. So Google does have an ecom GA4 demo as well as a SaaS. And so they might have some UTMs in there. So if you want sort of a testing environment so that you can go dig around and play, that's why I'm including this in here, because you might not have UTMs in your analytics and you might not know where to look. So hopefully after this, you can use the demo environments that you can go click around and just become a little bit more familiar with that. So let's go back to this, and I'm going to pull up this link right here, which I think is just right here. So this is a UTM generator that I built, and this is what I would suggest to you. You cannot edit this, so just simply go to File, make a copy, and it is yours. And you'll see these little pieces right here. These are a source, medium, campaign, UTM content, and UTM keyword or term. So the reason why I say this in here is sometimes inside of Google Analytics, you had to look under keyword. Other times it's under term, or some platforms might reference term, some might do keyword. So I just want to put that out there. So let's just create a new UTM and I'll show you how easy this is. So I'm just going to copy this and paste. And we will say that this is RIQ. Let's say like this would be organic, and let's say the campaign, if we were running it, was retargeting site traffic. I like that. And then we will say past 14 days, testimonial video. Okay, great. So all that I need to do is just click copy here, and then I'm done. This is what I place inside of my ads. So I've got different ones for like MailChimp. And so if you want to just kind of take what I have and update it, then that's exactly what I would do. But I'm going to show you how this show my UTMs sort of piece works. So I've got RIQ, organic site traffic. And if you just want to test this, just click on this right here. And this should pull up our show my UTMs tool. And you'll see your source, your medium, your campaigns, and you'll see that everything is actually pulling through the right way. So if you don't see these, then you didn't do it the right way. So I would just try again, and hopefully randomly, I cannot control the GIFs that pull through. So forgive me if you are offended by this. I'm just pulling something randomly from Giphy, again, using just some JavaScript that I cooked up with ChatGPT. So let's go on to this component. We're going to be revisiting this in a little bit as far as Google is concerned. So I will just talk about this now. So this is really all that we need to do. Copy and paste this into our account settings, and it will kind of automatically pull all of this in for you. We'll talk a little bit more about the parameters and why I've included this. I'm not going to give any support on this though. I think what you can do is you can copy and make this yours, and you can just do this. I have the documentation of where to go place this as well. And then in case you do mess up anything in here, I just created a clean copy of this so that you can use this in the future. So let's do this. Hopefully you have an understanding somewhat of this. And I would say just go ahead and experiment with this. But I think in order to see the effectiveness of this, what I want to do is show you an analytics campaign with UTMs, because this is really where the power is. So I'm in Google Analytics. I am in reports, acquisition, user acquisition. And so what I see right here is I have my source and medium. You're going to be familiar with that because that's really where the click is coming from. And then we can add on something. And so I should say this. Normally you start off here with the first user default channel group. We want to switch it to first user source medium. Then I pulled in another element with the plus button. We'll just do this plus, and I can type in campaign, first user campaign. There we go. And now we can see the name of the campaign behind each group. Now, one of the things that I've added into GA4 was this metric. I wanted to add in the conversion rate because ultimately that is like the holy metric that we're trying to make decisions based on in GA4. And so this campaign, I think, occurred over 2 months. I think it was 3 months. I'm showing you 2 months here. And the call to action was to sign up for the waitlist for the app. And then since they launched, then we transitioned our efforts into actually driving installs for them. But let's look look at this data. So over here, I see the source and medium were Facebook ads. We're running ads on Facebook. And we noted that the medium was paid. We could have said CPC because that's what we did in other spots. So Google CPC, TikTok ads, TikTok ads, TikTok ads, Google CPC. So we're running a lot of paid campaigns. But I think what's most important, though, is when you scroll over, and one, you look at this conversion. So we took the event that we created in module 2, we actually toggle that onto a conversion. That's the only way that we can get that in here. Otherwise, it's just going to show up as an event, but we want the conversion. And so now that we have the conversion, we can backtrack it all the way to the original click. And in this case, we see that 8,388 people signed up from this campaign in Facebook. And we see that 6,000 converted from this other top of funnel campaign. We can see the user conversion rate, though, is 57.53 compared to 47, compared to like down low, low, low. Like everything is lower. So what we clearly saw using these UTMs was that Facebook, or Meta in this case, was really the place to go. Now, we could dial this in to see which ad group. We could also see which term and the placement. You can do that as well. All that you need to do is just go into this, and instead of typing campaign, you can type in content for the ad group, or you can type in term for the ad level. I'm not going to do that now because I just want to keep this as brief as possible. But just know, like, this is how we make decisions based upon real hard evidence and proof. There is no guessing in this game. Like, we can see all the data. Unfortunately, it comes in 24 hours later. We can see all of the data of all of our efforts, and then what we can do from here is just, adjust the ad spend accordingly. Like, what we wanted to do, not in just this case, was get a bunch of signups. We also wanted to diversify across platforms. So we did do that with TikTok. And TikTok was way more expensive with the sign up, but when we moved to actual app installs, TikTok was on par with Meta. Meta is just still really good at this, but we were getting, I think at the moment, yeah, Facebook is just a little bit better than TikTok. Obviously, Google app install campaigns are going really well as well. So, but again, you can't see some of the app install data in Google Analytics because people are installing it somewhere else, and that's why I wanted to show you the sign up, because these are events that are actually taking place on a website. We can do the same thing in an e-commerce funnel where we can see where, what ads are actually getting people. You can move this these events down to add to cart. You can do added payment info, and then the conversion here would be purchase, and so you can see which ads are pushing people to like add things to their cart, which is great, but we actually want buyers. And so that's where this really comes in handy, where we can take this data and understand where these clicks are coming from, where they're buying, and then that just enables us to go spend more money in the spot that is winning. So so that sort of rounds out our training on UTMs. Again, if you want some demo environments just to go play around with the numbers, if you don't have any, then I have linked to here, and I think it's a really good resource. Other than that, use our custom UTM generator. Go to File, make a copy, and just make it yours. Make the pieces as unique to you as you want, and then you can test those on our Show My UTMs tool. Next, we're going to be moving into each platform. And so each platform is going to be different. We're going to revisit how, like, audience segmentation, we're going to revisit Google Tag Manager and setting your pixels up in all of those places. But we are going to eventually circle back to UTMs and how to add UTMs to each ad on those platforms. So I hope that this foundational understanding of UTMs is going to be instrumental in you sort of just using this into the future and just baking it into everything that you do. So, all right, I think that wraps up our module on UTMs, and we will see you next in Meta. Thanks.